conditions outside. I hope we all had a bit of a break this winter and getting ready for the next season. But the plan is to record this whole session, so I'm hoping that everybody's okay with that. We're trying not to put too many faces on there, but we've had some requests of putting this whole thing on YouTube because there's a bit of interest from overseas and Canterbury and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so we're trying to make it as clear as possible. So I guess the exits are over there where you came in. Pretty much that's all we've got. There is a toilet. There is actually a toilet in the corner there.
It's a urinal.
But it's a urinal, so it's not really appropriate for any. So, and apart from that, unfortunately, that's all we've got. So, all right. I probably shouldn't be standing in front of the screen, I guess. Right, so for anybody that doesn't know me, my name is Rudy Woutersen. Me and my partner Yolanda, we are operating RJ Agri Spray. We started with the Tow and Fert about 5 years ago, and we developed our own mix and all that sort of stuff, and sort of that's all work in progress. And today we're going to show some results of applying those mixes on these two farms here in South Carolina. So we'll make a start. A bit of an agenda for what we're doing today. So I'll have a bit of a yarn about the Tow and Fert and all the pros and cons of that. Then I'll do an introduction to the LMO program, which is the program that we're running on these farms. Then we'll do a bit of a comparison between the bulky and the Tow and Fert. Then we've got Caleb Hamill doing a bit of a case study on his place. We've been operating there for 3 years now, this is third year. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions anytime during this presentation. So it's all about having an open discussion about the whole thing. Then we're going to do Gareth Roberts, who is running this farm here as a sheep milker. And again, we've done one season at Gareth with the LMO program. So there's less data, but it's really interesting data. And then to finish it off, we got Donald Martin from Glasgow, who is going to do a bit of a presentation on the value of consistent grass measuring. All right, so he'll run through with that. And then we'll have a few drinks and something to eat, hopefully. All right. Right, so why should we be running a Tow and Fert? For anybody that doesn't know what a Tow and Fert really does, it basically dissolves lots of different products into like a slurry, a fine particle mix, and it'll spray it on your pasture. Some of it will be taken up by the leaf, some of it will just go on the soil and gets taken up by the soil directly. But overall, it's versatile because we can use multiple products in one machine. Biological products, fish, anything, humates, anything will go through. Well, not everything, because we had a few issues, but most of the stuff will go through. So it makes it a really versatile machine because we can do everything in one pass. Now, when it comes to the environment, because we're applying less more often, so we're basically following the cows in this case, and we're putting on a little bit as we go. So there's less risk of, well, polluting the rivers, there's less risk of runoff, less volatilization. So that's what sort of makes it all a little bit better for the environment. Another advantage of the Tow and Fert when it comes to the environment is that we can actually apply, if you were to apply just nitrogen, we can apply nitrogen or urea at 25 kilos a hectare, and a bulk you will never get that on accurately. We can even apply it at 4 or 5 units of N, and we still get an accurate result. So that's all benefits for the Tow and Fert. And of course, when it comes down to efficiency, again, all of the above. Just the fact that we can apply so many products in that machine all in one go, that's what makes it just really efficient. Because it's such fine particle, it's so much easier for the bacteria in the soil to actually take up the product and actually turn it into growth. And again, that creates efficiencies. So we're going to go into a little bit of a discussion on why we believe that this less more often procedure is working so well. If you look at a traditional phosphate application, so traditionally you would on a dairy farm, you know, they'll be recommending about 40 units of phosphate, and with what we've been doing, we're finding that between 5 and 10 units of phosphate is actually doing the job, maintaining and even actually increasing the phosphate levels. So we've got to work out why that actually is happening. And I'm only guessing myself, but when you're applying 40 units of phosphate in a traditional way, so you're applying, I don't know, 2 times 300 kilos or whatever, whatnot, I believe that a lot of that is lost, locked up, or run off. Somewhere it's lost, and we believe that's about 80%, because we're only applying 10 units, maintaining everything and increasing it, as opposed to the traditional ways of applying 40 units and maintaining it. So there is a massive difference there, and why it actually is happening, we don't know. But this is what we're finding so far. So yeah, some really interesting stuff come out of there. So normally, so when you look at a traditional fertilizer recommendation, they work on 2.5 units of phosphate per 1 ton of grass grown. So when you're growing 14 ton of grass, you need to apply about 36 units. Well, these farms here that we're applying on, they're growing about 13 ton of grass, and this year we've only put on 4.5 units of phosphate. So yeah, it's that's quite a big saving. Might just wait to see a couple of people coming in. Continue. So the LMO program, I guess that's all pretty clear. It stands for less more often. It's a complete replacement of your maintenance fertilizer program. So what we're doing with the program is we're just applying all your maintenance fertilizer, and we're just doing that by following the cow. So instead of applying a bit of urea, we apply everything that plant needs while it's being grazed or straight after grazing. So the product itself, the LMO mix, has all the macro and micronutrients that the plant actually needs, including trace elements. Everything is in there. So now that's been taking a while to develop that program, and we certainly had a few issues over time, but we've got it working pretty good now. So the benefits of the program is, first of all, there is a lot less losses to the environment, which I think is pretty important. It's a massive cost reduction, like on Garris's farm, we've saved about 100 grand in fertiliser in this first year, and we believe we can actually take it a bit further yet, but we don't know yet what the sweet point is. The way that we're mixing this product, like because it's all in one mix, and we're using the Tow and Fert, all we got to do is either scoop it up with a tractor, load it up, or we just pick up a bag and away we go. So it's a real ease of operation. It's a very simple system. Just cover that. Right. So when we're comparing a traditional bulky with a Tow and Fert, I'm not sure if everybody realizes this, but the spread width of a tow of a bulky, let's say you're spreading, let's say, I don't know, 24 meters or whatever it is calibrated. If you're applying 50 kilos a hectare, it's calibrated for 50 kilos per hectare for that 24 spread width. But it goes a lot further than that, but not at 50 kilos. So there's a bit of overlapping in the center of them, and everything else goes either in the creek or somewhere where it doesn't need to be. So a bulky, even though they've got a lot of technology in them, it's actually not that accurate. With the Tow and Fert, if we have a spread width of 22 meters, that's what it is. We might go over a little bit, but it is pretty bloody accurate. So whatever we're putting on gets where it needs to be. And of course with the bulky, well, you can't add liquids. So you can't add any fish or any other biological products. It is just that. So can you imagine if you're applying, I don't know, let's say 300 or 400 kilos of superphosphate or whatever you're applying, and you're applying that at 26 meters or 25 meters or whatever, you can imagine that a lot of that fertilizer goes a lot further where it's not supposed to be. So there's a massive advantage in the Tow and Fert in that regard. And with the Tow and Fert, you know, of course, we can add trace elements, which are a lot easier to uptake by the leaf when it's in liquid. So like your molly, there's no way that you can spread molly accurately with a bulky. That's why we use a Tow and Fert. So cost of application. Now we charge $24.20 per hectare. Standard cost, whatever we do, that's what it is. Whether we apply a mix or whether we apply fish or whatever we apply, this is what it's costing per hectare. Unless it's a real sort of pain in the butt to actually get all the products at the right place. But normally this is what we apply at that rate. So compare that to a bulky. This is a bit of a breakdown of what a traditional program would look like. And of course this is when you actually get a bulky in for everything on farm, your urea and all the other bits and pieces. So the cost is about $169 per hectare I worked out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it would be roughly when you've got when you're doing your whole maintenance program and your urea and all that with the bulky. That's sort of roughly what it would cost. And when you do it with a Tow and Fert, if you're doing about 8 applications, it'll cost about $195 per hectare. So the difference is not that big, really, if you look at that. And then when you add the cost or the savings of your fertilizer in there, it's a massive saving. So, but we'll go into details on that with Caleb and Gareth later on. That is if wants to carry on. There we go. She's a bit slow. So any questions on this so far? Is there anybody that wants to know a little bit more about what we're doing with the LMO program or anything else? Any questions? Then otherwise we'll carry on with Caleb.
Got any questions there?
we can always discuss it later on anyway. Caleb, it's your turn.
Oh, yeah.
Don't mind?
Yeah.
So, well, I think most people here know Caleb. He's got the farm just down the road here, and you will talk to him about the background of the farm and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Do you want me to push the buttons for you?
Yep.
Or are you going to do it yourself?
No, you stay there and you do that. And, we'll go from there.
No worries, that's fine. Oh well,